Hey, what's up? I think I did mention previously in my last video that I went from 135 back in last June to like 173 now. That's I don't know, I don't want to do the math on it, but that's a good bit of pounds in like in a short amount of time while being homeless and incarcerated. Um, I see that there's actually a misconception on macros and how those actually work. It's actually a lot simpler than people really think it is, but it can get kind of complicated over time. So right now, I'm gonna give like a simple breakdown on how macros work and how that translates to gaining weight and what you can pretty much do to become the best version of yourself, essentially. So let's get into that now. I'm actually in the library, so I'm gonna use the whiteboard. I've been waiting to get in the study room specifically to do this, but yeah, let's do it. And so what I'm gonna do is most likely, because I don't know if the board is too far away, is I'm most likely gonna put the phone closer every once in a while, just so you guys can see it and review it essentially, and just trying to keep up with what I'm saying. Obviously I can't ask you if it's a lot, but this will be on my social media. So if you do feel like, oh shit, can you explain this more? Obviously, I'll reply with another video. Period. All right. So wait one second. Let's look at what you do know and break down some of the falsities inside of those, pretty much. All right. Protein. We're going to use a black marker for that because everybody knows about protein. Boom. Fats. Not everybody knows about fats, but I'm going to put them in blue because I think they get a depressed tone, even though they're not bad. And carbs. Green, like money, you know? But also, like, well, what I'm about to get into. Since I have a green marker in my hand right now, let's get into carbs right now. Okay, so there's two primary carbs, and that's going to be sugar and fiber. Right? Protein is pretty much just like I like to describe it as being like the managerial part of the whole macro diet, essentially. One of the three major nutrients that you're going to receive. Obviously, it's like the managers, but you're pretty much just going to find this in lean meats. Yeah, or pretty much any type of meat. There are some alternatives to it as well, like peanuts. Peanuts definitely have a lot of good things in it, but we're gonna get more into what are good sources of protein that aren't fucking meats, but mainly meats are gonna take it for that. And then fats. This is very important. Oh, I messed up. And then fats is very important. There are two major types of fats, and that's saturated and unsaturated. Unsaturated. Yeah, don't judge my spelling. Well, I actually do because I'm trying to talk smart and I can't fucking spell saturated. Saturated. Okay, okay. Oh, should I do that in black? Oh gosh, it's getting complicated. I'm probably gonna just stick with the black marker right now. So here's what I'm really trying to get into with this. Proteins and meats, obviously. Proteins and meats, of course, you're gonna find that in wait, hold on. Okay, so proteins, meats, fats, unsaturated and saturated, carbs, sugar, and fiber essentially. What matters here the most, right? So what you're gonna find in most products is gonna be sugar, and most fast food is gonna be saturated fats. And obviously you're gonna find meats everywhere that say protein, protein, protein everywhere. That being said, there are things that are pretty dense, like fucking protein shakes, and everyone knows about peanut butter. If you don't, we're gonna get into that later. But what you actually should be focusing on is fiber, unsaturated fats, which you need more of than saturated fats. Not that saturated, not that saturated fats are unhealthy. Even sugar, in some ways, in moderation, is healthy, but the excess of it that is available makes it pretty bad for you. Sugar can help expand the stomach, but usually you're gonna run into people with tiny limbs, like arms and legs, but a big belly, because they eat a whole lot of sugary things, but they don't actually have a lot of fiber in their diet to help fuel them throughout the day. That disperses the weight more naturally. This happens specifically because fiber has less sugar in it, and it is better. It is generally better fuel when it's matched with something like unsaturated fats, essentially, like or unsaturated or even saturated fats a little bit. Like say just a bit of butter inside of pound cake, mixed in with mix in the flour, which is basically just starch. You're eating pound cake, no icing, no nothing like that. That's not great, but it's like it has a balanced amount of sugar. Most of the sweetener is coming from the unsaturated and saturated fats inside the butter. And then with the sugar, then with the flour, that combines together to make kind of like a compound thing that can actually put weight on you and keep you slightly stable as well. This is somewhat like a fine science in a way. Sure, yeah, you can eat random things and random things will happen based on what you're actually looking for, but you have to know what to look for to know what will work, essentially. Um, why does this matter? Why does this matter so much about the difference between sugars, fibers, unsaturated fats, and saturated fats? Because you don't know it, and you just listen to anybody without them actually explaining it. You just think, oh, well, he just got like that because so and so and so and so. And you don't understand that there is a formula to this stuff. There is a way to do things without actually harming yourself or just listening to anybody and having to fail, fail, fail. There is a process. There is trial and error, and I've went through that, and I'm here to share my results with you guys. All right, so far we've talked about the difference between saturated fats, unsaturated fats, sugar and fiber, and proteins. I actually haven't covered proteins too much. Dense proteins and what is usually described as proteins that aren't protein alternatives are usually just incomplete proteins because you kind of need the iron in the blood, the hemoglobin to make basically a full protein. I don't know how else to say it. Um, but why does all this matter? One big important thing that obviously is on the internet a lot that actually is very unhelpful a lot is high carb, high protein diets, which it don't really help because you have to think of it like this. Protein is a manager. It can't do everything. It can manage where things go, but carbs are the ones that place materials where they need to go for you to for you to build muscle. For you to build muscle and keep muscle on you. But the building blocks to all of that is gonna be unsaturated fats. Saturated fats will stick on you longer and are good for long-term health if they are moderated and kept alongside unsaturated fats, which are going to be the building blocks for actually building muscle and sustaining it essentially. Why does this matter? Because if you listen to someone that says high carbs, high protein, bro, that's gonna really put it on you. You end up filling your muscles with basically just fiber. You know, it's like building a house of straw, right? It'll burn down eventually when you get to moving and doing things. Okay, when you build yourself up using fats, the body, blah 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 puts that in with the fiber to make it more like cement. You know, that's staying on you. That's always going to be on you. And that's what your body's going to memorize. If you walk around, you do things, you work on calisthenics, so on and so forth. Honestly, I didn't know these videos were going to get this long. I think I have one that's 4 minutes, one that's like another 2 minutes, and this one is going on to 2 minutes. So, all together, this time, I don't know, about 8 minutes, 8, 9 minutes. I didn't mean for it to be that long, promise you. But yeah, I'm gonna get more into it if this actually gets some pretty decent reactions and get more into examples. Actually, I'm just make another one covering examples.